Hello guys, welcome to another video of Python Without the Fluff. I'm Chills Codes, and today's video is going to be about working with strings and how text is everywhere. If you can't work with strings, you can't build anything useful. So, essentially a string is text which is wrapped in quotes. In Python, we use the string type. So I'll show you an example. So let's say we have, I don't know, X, and we set it to Patrick. If I print the type of X, if you don't remember the last video, we worked with types. So if we print the type of that variable, we get class string, and str is how strings are defined in Python. So with strings as well, and when you've wrapped strings in quotes, you can either use single quotations or double quotations. So here we've used double quotations, but of course I can list it like that. So it's just single quotations. There is no major difference. I think the big difference here is, let's say you want to display something with quotes. You would probably use single quotations and go, I said, I'm the best, and then if you displayed that, print X, the string would be in quotes. There's also multi-line strings, so you can have multi-lines of strings. These are useful in doc strings, long text blocks, or formatting. To give you an example of what a multi-line string is, it's 3 double quotations. So I'll just write Python without the fluff. So 2 strings, no fiddler, something like that. And then if I print it, I get this is the output that I get. And that's from a multi-line string. It's quick, it's practical, but you can also use it for doc strings, so this is code. And this will be completely ignored by the compiler. The compiler won't run this. This is just for the devs, the software developer, whatever, engineer. This is just for human reading. Alright, on to the next thing, string concatenation. The first thing that we're going to show is just basic string concatenation. So let's say I have first name. Maybe I shouldn't be using my name in case someone docks me. Last, John Doe. Put a capital there. And then let's say I concatenate these 2 variables. It would literally be first plus. So use the plus sign to concatenate. I'll put a double quotation to add a space, and then last. And then we're just going to print this. And then it prints the 2 strings concatenated. Alright, a common mistake that happens when concatenating strings is mixing strings and integers. You're not actually allowed to concatenate strings and integers with the plus sign because it doesn't convert the types properly, so it won't automatically convert an integer into a string. So just to demonstrate, if we have age, we set it to 60, and then we go print age plus age. This won't work. So we get an error, can only concatenate strings, not integers. To fix this, we use the string operator and wrap those in parentheses, and then when we display that, it concatenates properly. So basically, Python won't guess what you mean. You have to tell Python, but it's pretty straightforward. So just have a little play around with that if this is confusing. But the method that a lot of people use to display things the correct way or the more modern way is through the use of f-strings. So an f-string, it just basically just formats the string. So let's say we have age again, name, and then we print. So to start an F string, we start with just the letter F, and then double quotations. And so I'll go, my name is, and then I've already got the auto display thing. Hold on, let me just turn that off for the remainder of the video. All right, so let's start that again. Sorry about that. I'm a little bit unprepared. So you start with just the letter F, put in the double quotations, or single quotations if you like. I usually use double quotations with my strings. It just works a lot better for me. But obviously if I want to show quotes for a string, I'll use single quotations. But let's start this off. So my name is, and then to display a variable in an F string, you don't need to um, have the plus sign and do it and concatenate. It's just these little curly brackets, and then you put the variable name in, and then I am, put in age, years old. So then when we display that, my name is John and I'm 60 years old. So that's that's how you use an F string to display variables, concatenate variables and strings. I'll show another example. Let's do height equals, I don't know, 1.75, a little bit short. And we'll do an F string again, height at meters. When we display that, I did not mean to put a space there. So just have a play around with that. I'll show you one more thing as well, is that you can actually format things to decimal places. Sorry, integers or floats to decimal places. So we'll do this one again, print f height, and then you put a colon, and then dot to f, just like so. So colon, point to f, so that'll be to 2 decimal places, and that will display like that. So let's say if I go something like that, without it, it shows the whole thing. With it, it will convert it to 2 decimal places. So that's just how you format strings properly, the correct way, and then I guess the more modern way. Alright, so the next thing that we'll go into is indexing strings. So let's say we have word equals Python. You can actually display letters in that string through the use of indexing them. So now this is a confusing topic to wrap your head around, because strings are indexed starting at 0, so it doesn't start at 1. So if I want to display the letter P, I would go like this. So let's say print word, you would do the square brackets to start to index. You wouldn't use the number 1, you would use the number 0 to display the first letter. So here is P, and so forth. So you can do it again for number 1, which should show Y, as it does. But another cool thing is you can go the opposite way. So here is, you start with -1, and that would display the letter N. Another thing as well, as I'm going to show you a string method, you can actually print the length of the word, so that'll print the whole length of how many letters are in the word. So if we go len, parentheses, put word in, and that should display the whole length of Python, which is 6. And another way for you to print the last letter of a string is to print we'll do this. So print word, square brackets, get the length of word, and then take 1 away. Oh, my bad. And then that prints the last letter. So that's how you index strings. Let's move on. We'll do slicing, string slicing. So we'll do the format. So let me just write a comment. So text, start, stop, step. So we'll explain that. Let's have the text. Python is clean. And then if we print text, we can actually slice the string. So we'll do 0 to 6. So it starts at 0 and stops at 6, at index 6. And that prints the whole string. We can do another one. Sorry, it doesn't print the whole string. I misspoke. It prints from 0 to 6, which is Python. Then we'll do text 7 to 9. If we print that, that prints is. Another way you can do it is you can just put a colon in and then 6, so that will automatically start at 0. We have Python, and then we'll do one more. Text bracket will start at 10, and then put a colon, so that'll go from 10 all the way to the end, which is clean. Alright, so to show how you could use steps to display strings, we'll write the word A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we'll print word 2 colons, and then we'll just do 2. So when we print that, it displays ace because it's stepping twice. So it goes, instead of it going printing the whole thing, it'll go, oh, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, so forth, so until it prints the whole string. We can also do it the other way. We can reverse it. So I'll show you that one. So word 2 colons -1. And that should print the reverse of this string. So FEDCBA, as so. So that's slicing strings. This one can be a bit confusing. The best way to learn this is just to play around with it, try different things, and then you should be able to understand it pretty easily. Alright, next thing, I'll just touch on this quite quickly. So let's say we have a variable word and it's got Python in it. You can't actually do, let's say we got word 0. It's like, oh, I want to change the letter P to something different. So I'll go word 0 and then I'll set it to, I don't know, A for example. You actually get an error, and that's because strings are immutable, which means that they can't actually be changed. But what they can, what you can do with strings is that you can add things to them. So let's say if I have this word here, I would go A, and then I would plus word, and I would start at index 1, which is Y, and then do the remainder. And then if I print word, I actually get what I wanted to do. So strings are immutable, but that doesn't mean that you can't manipulate strings. There's just correct ways to do them. Next topic is some string methods. I won't get into depth on all the different string methods that there are because there are so many, but I'll touch on some important ones that I use a lot. So to start off with, we have lowercase and uppercase. So let's say we have a string and we want to convert it all to lowercase or uppercase. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy string method. So I'll show you how to do that. So let's say we got text, hello, print text. So you write text and then it's literally just dot, lower, and then parentheses. And then it's the exact same for uppercase. Dot, upper, parentheses. So this one should print hello, and that one should print hello. And it does as so. So that's uppercase and lowercase. There's also another one called strip, which this method just removes any white space. So if we go user input, add some spaces, and then we go user underscore input dot strip, and then parentheses. So that's another string method. That just gets rid of all that space, unnecessary space. This is often useful when you're getting input from users because a lot of the times input from users contains spaces. Another string method is replace. So let's say I have a sentence and it's I like Java. I would print it sentence.replace, and then the first word would be the word that I want to replace. So in this instance, it's Java, and then I want to change it to Python, and then that changes it to I like Python. So that's another string method that can be useful. All right, another string method is split. So basically what that does is it will split up a string and it will convert the string into a list, and it will split the string based on what you put in. So let's say if I have data, apples, bananas, oranges, items equals data dot split, parentheses, and then you put in quotations, and where do you want the data to be split? I want it to be split when there's a comma, and then when I print items, it splits it into a list. So that can be super useful if you get user input and you want to put the user's input into a list. Alright, so another string method is find, or you could also use the in keyword. So let's say we have an email, test@gmail.com. Oh, I forgot to put them in quotations. I can do print email.find, and I want to find what index the @ symbol's at. So I display that, it's at index 4. And then you can also use the in keyword to find out if a letter or number or whatever is actually in the variable. So let's say for the at symbol, for example, if I go print at in email, this will display either true or false. So if at is in email, it will display true. So is that an email? Yes, it is. So we should get true, and we get true. So that's how you use the dot find string method and the in keyword. Another thing is escape characters. I'll quickly show you that one. So whether or not you want to put in a new line or have tabs, you can do it like so. So let's say I've got line 1, and then it's just slash n, which will create a new line. Line 2 will display that one. So it displays it on a new line. And then another one is tabs. So let's say A/T, B/T, C. And if we display that, that puts in a tab. So they're just a couple of escape characters. That's pretty useful to know. I'll show you a couple of examples to fully concrete what we've learnt today. So example A is we'll clean a username input. I haven't really shown input yet. So we'll talk about that probably in the next video. Enter username. And then we'll go username equals username.strip. If we remember from before, that gets rid of any unnecessary white space. And then we'll also convert it into lowercase. So now if we print through the use of an F string, saved username, remember the curly brackets, username, that should print the username. It should get rid of any unnecessary white space and put it in lowercase. So we'll show that one. So we'll add some space and we'll go Chill's Goats. And then that converts it to lowercase, gets rid of any white space. So that's one example. We'll show another, and that's extracting extracting, we'll do first and last name, so we'll convert it into a list. So let's say I got full name equals John Doe, and then parts equals full underscore name dot split. And how do we want to split this? There's no commas in this one, but there is a space. So we'll split it from the space. And now when we do parts 0, that should print the first name, print parts at index 1, that should print Doe. Now that's because it converts it into a list, and I'll show you that. So if we print the type, converts it into a list. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video. Hope you guys learned something new. We covered strings basics, concatenation versus f-strings, indexing and slicing, common string methods, and I showed a couple of examples. If there's anything that you're confused about, drop a comment. I'll reply, try to help you out. This is my second video, so the teaching might be a bit rusty, but we're working on it every day. So stay tuned, see what more videos we can come up with, and I'll see you in the next one.